Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to go over building a Giga trap, and this is by far probably the most safest way to tame a Giga. These things are pretty beast. No matter if you're alpha tribe level or a beginner, you don't want to just most of the time roll up on one of these bad mammer jammers right here. They will wreck you quick. So just a quick overview of some stuff you're going to need to do this. Preferably a gold chain, a ascended saddle, preferably over 100 armor on that saddle, a decent RG, a tribe mate if you had it. Right here I do it solo, which is fine, but if you have a tribe mate, it's always good to have some backup there. But basically what I'm going to do here is build a box. Now over here I just got chomped. That Giga right over there just totally wrecked me. He got up on me. I lured him a little bit too close. So thankfully he was trying to munch on something that was closer. So I lived. I was only wearing primitive flak at the time. So that's a pretty big shock. Although, not too uncommon. They're easily distracted. So you're just basically going to build this box. Once you get the box built, you're going to then work on trying to lure the Giga in the box. Now, you want to make sure these are spaced kind of far apart. They don't have to be snapped into a perfect place. They just need to they need to close off enough gap for a Giga to not be able to get through. That's kind of the main goal of this. So right over here, you see I got this all built up nice and pretty. So now comes the fun part, is actually luring the Giga in here. I actually messed up and reclaimed that piece, so I had to come back through here later and place that back down, which thankfully wasn't that hard because there's a lot of stuff. Another thing about this is, if you notice, we started out on the mountain. I lured him to a flatter spot. You want as flat as possible because you don't want him to be able to move around and get like a high thing to where he can maybe jump over that gate, which is really rare, but I've seen it happen once. So it's just something to look out for. After you get that third piece in there, you're going to have that final one on your hotbar down there on your right-hand side. And then you're going to want to lure this Giga straight shot. Try to take him out wide, bring him in as straight as possible. Now, this is where if you had another tribe mate, it would be ideal. You could have you lead them through and then them come back through and place that final gate behind and close them in. If you're by yourself, you're probably going to have to make a couple attempts unless you're like really good or get real lucky. So we're going to lure this guy back in for a second run and see if we can get that gate thrown in behind him and get him trapped up. So this is why I say you want to have a good RG, or just an RG you can work with. If it doesn't have the best health in the world, just a decent melee so it can go eat some stuff if you take too much damage. And ultimately the goal is just to trap him here. So I think right about here we're going to get him. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to fly around the building. You always want to fly around your little square to make sure he can't just get up and find a spot where he's got that height and just jump over it, or maybe you've placed the gates too far apart, or maybe you put that cap a little bit too far out. Over here, if you'll notice, it looks pretty far, but he actually still can't get out of there. So on my server, this dude's just going to be trapped until somebody comes along and tames him, because I do not need him because he's trash. But you see that pretty big gap over there, he still can't get through. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to, work enough for you to get him trapped up. Now at this point, after you check the trap and make sure he can't, get out, you could feel free to hop off your bird, use some tranq darts, use some shock arrows, whatever you want to use to tame this Giga. You can just go ahead and throw that down there now and start shooting him. The best thing to do is use Dodo decks and use the calculator to kind of get a general idea of what you're going to need.